Welcome to our 2024 season of the Cloud Industry Forum Presents TWF. We're speaking to you live from our mixed reality studio with the help of our friends here at Disruptive Live. On this TechWave Forum podcast, we interview a guest from one of our members, someone with something to say about cloud technology or artificial intelligence or digital transformation or leadership, or with ideas about what's coming next. I'm David Terrar. I'm the CEO of the Cloud Industry Forum, which is a not-for-profit trade body that champions and helps accelerate the adoption of cloud technology and services. If you want to find out more about what we do and how we help, go to cloudindustryforum.org. I'm at DT on X, David_Terrar on Threads and Instagram, and easy to find on LinkedIn. Now, today's show is about people rather than tech. We'll be talking about being successful and being a high achiever. We'll be talking about good and bad challenges, about psychology and neuroscience, and about something you'll have heard of called Imposter Syndrome, with our guest who wants to eliminate Imposter Syndrome for good. So a big welcome to Tara Halliday, who's joining us in the studio. Tara, great to see you. Can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yes, so my company is called Complete Success. I help high achievers, high flyers, executives thrive, enjoy their work, achieve balance, calm, and most of all, get rid of the block that holds most of them back, which is imposter syndrome. Excellent. And that program's called Inner Success. So these people who already have outer success, I bring along the inner success, we put them together, and that's why my company is called Complete Success.
Oh, got it. Okay. Right, now, before we get into that, maybe what you could do is give us a bit of your background and the journey that actually led you to creating Complete Success.
Yeah, so I started off in engineering.
Okay.
But I was only in engineering because my family didn't want me to do psychology, which is what I really wanted to do.
Very good.
So I had a career, I had a PhD in engineering, I had a career in engineering.
What sort of engineering?
I did computational fluid dynamics.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, which is basically an electronic wind tunnel, if you like, for testing cars and things. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it was interesting work, but it wasn't what called me, it wasn't what spoke to me.
Got it.
So then 24 years ago, then I finally escaped that and did my study as a holistic therapist, and I've been working in that field. 8 years ago now, one of my clients came to me and said this conditional worth that I was then working with is that imposter syndrome. So then I at that time hadn't heard of imposter syndrome, so I dived into the research and I had this light bulb moment that actually imposter syndrome and conditional worth had the same root.
And that research goes, I remember you saying it was about 1950 that some of that started.
Yeah, so the coaching that I was doing, it was quite obscure, and it's in conditional worth. And if I just explain what that is.
Yeah, please.
Conditional worth is when your worth depends on what you do. So you do something good, you are good. You do something bad, you are bad. Right. And it's simply a belief, a construct that we have in our brains, and it's pervasive through society. Now, back in the 1950s, one of the grandfathers of personal psychology, which is Dr. Carl Rogers, he went on a quest to figure out the root cause of human suffering. You know, why, when we have food, shelter, water, jobs, safety, are we still miserable? And he found it, and he found that it was this conditional worth, this belief that our worth is conditional. And he found that unless you developed it at a very specific stage in your childhood, then by the time you're an adult, it's fixed. You can't change it. So that's why it became obscure, because they thought there could be nothing. Nothing about it. Exactly. But then, you know, neuroscience has moved on since then. You know, we found that the brain has this neuroplasticity. It can change in very specific ways, and we can actually change the beliefs if we do the right thing. So now we come to the possibility that we can get rid of imposter syndrome.
So you spotted that connection. What did you do next then?
I dived into the research. That was it. It was like, okay, I looked at all the literature, all the research that had been done about what is imposter syndrome, who gets it, where, and I made the link then between the symptoms of imposter syndrome and conditional worth, and that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to focus now and that's when I started Complete Success. I'm going to focus on imposter syndrome because it's huge. It affects over 70% of high achievers at some point in their career. And it creates such disruption, such stress, that and most people don't think there's anything they can do about it. And it holds people back. It burns people out, makes them quit careers. So, you know, although it seems such a small thing, its impact is huge.
Okay. Where does the amygdala come in?
Right, the amygdala. So the amygdala is the fear center in the brain. So you've got the amygdala. It's two. Actually, you've got two of them, behind the eyes and in front of the ears, and it's like a computer virus checker, right? It takes the information that's coming in through all of your brain, and it checks that there's no danger, just like a virus checker. And if there is danger, then what it does is it triggers your nervous system, getting ready to fight, flight, or freeze. So it puts you in this high defensive or aggressive state for survival. It's supposed to do that.
And that's kind of going back to the start of Homo sapiens.
Exactly, yes. So we don't want to change how the amygdala works.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this belief in conditional worth, this idea, is also lodged in the amygdala as a potential danger. Right. And so the way that we can address it is by working on unwinding that belief and basically taking it out of the amygdala's list of known dangers.
Okay.
And when that happens, then you don't get triggered. So you don't have all the problems.
So what kind of things do you do with the people that you're coaching to get them past this? How does it work?
So we start off by identifying, is this imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
And imposter syndrome, I should say, is the secret feeling of being a fraud when you're not a fraud.
Yeah.
And then the fear of being found out, and it's self-criticism, self-judgment, it can disturb sleep and all of this. So first thing we do is I've got a quiz that checks that this is imposter syndrome. We have to diagnose it properly, if you like.
Yeah.
And then I run a program that is 8 modules. The average time is 13 weeks. And we very systematically go through a series of steps to change that amygdala's listing of conditional worth. And when we do that, all of the symptoms of imposter syndrome just fall away. Okay. It's pretty amazing. So we're not actually targeting imposter syndrome. We're targeting what appears to be the root cause, which is this conditional worth.
Okay, cool. So what kind of people, I mean, I think lots of people have this imposter syndrome problem. What kind of people are you working with?
I work with high achievers, leaders, CEOs, the top level people, not because I have to, right? Not because this is who I particularly go for. Those are the people who come to me because those are the people who are most invested, saying, okay, I don't need to be held back like this. So even though they're successful, logically they know that they're capable and competent, but internally they're feeling this self-doubt or self-criticism, and they're aware how much it's holding them back, and they want to do something about it. So when you present this, look, there's a very systematic way of changing this, that gets them very excited. And it's not therapy, so it's not, and it's brain engineering, I gotta call it.
I like it. That makes sense. Yeah. So, and I guess it's not just important for the person that you're helping fix because of all the people they interact with.
Exactly. Yeah. So what it does is it changes the way that the person I'm working with interacts with everyone around them. It makes them more cooperative, less defensive if they get defensive. They speak up more or more boldly. So it's not a lack of confidence, but when you get rid of it, it leads to this kind of effortless confidence in that you forget to doubt yourself. Right? And that's not arrogance. Right? That's you still reflect. In fact, you can reflect better, and it affects the teams that they lead because they interact in a more open way. They can hear criticism and feedback far more easily. They don't take things personally. It affects relationships at home because if they're not spending all the time stressing and over preparing and overworking from imposter syndrome, they have more time at home. They can switch off more easily. So the home life is calmer, the work life is calmer. They've got more time to have the impact in the community that they want. So the ripple effect is huge.
Excellent. Now, I've got a kind of a slightly interesting question here, because for the last 18 months, we're kind of living in a new era, the era of artificial intelligence. And I'm just interested to know how that affects what you do, whether you use it yourself, whether it's helped your research. You know, how is it, or is it something that's, oh, that's good, that's happening outside of me?
Yeah, well, I have used ChatGPT as an AI tool to, you know, a lot of what I do is communicating with people and communicating the message. And so sometimes I've used it to say, okay, let's change the way I express this and see if it lands better, see if it's helpful. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't, but sometimes it is. I think the other place that AI could be useful in the future is in terms of scientific research. I'm just planning now to do a follow-on research study to the work that I've been doing, and hopefully that will be in a more academic setting. And I think what AI is brilliant at is looking at data and spotting patterns, which we can't know, and particularly when something is as complex as, you know, the human mind or the human environment. I think it might lead to some really good insights that way. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, all of that has been you know, awesome and illuminating and fascinating. It's really good. Please tell our audience how they find you and the complete your company and everything.
Yes. So the website is completesuccess.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn, Tara-Halliday-PhD. And I'm also, if you look up Tara Halliday on Amazon, you'll see my 2 books there, Unmasking and Outsmart Imposter Syndrome.
Awesome. We like book authors on the show. That's great. I hadn't realised you'd written 2 books. Super. That's been really fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot, David.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing Tara's explanation of imposter syndrome and how she's a specialist in it, and actually she wants to eliminate it for good. Lots of great ingredients in there. Well, we'll be back live with a new guest next Wednesday at 14:30 UK time. We want your feedback, we want your suggestions. Maybe you want to come on the show. Put something in the comments here or email us at info@cloudindustryforum.org. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope to see you next week or next time.